Hello everybody and welcome back to Goalie Hub, and of course after a very long absence I have returned, and in today's video, in my first video back, I am going to be talking about none other than the most overhyped day in hockey ever. It is the trade deadline. Now I did one of these last year, so if you do want to go check that out, last year's deadline had some pretty big names involved, including Robin Lehner. Then you can go check that out over here in this corner. I will leave a link up there. But yeah, I'm going to be doing another one of these this year because I just felt like there were some major enough moves to talk about, and there's enough things to talk about that went on. Of course, I'm going to be talking about only the goalie trades. There was only really 3 of them that I'm going to be covering in this video, and 2 of them were really only including NHL goaltenders, and 1 of them was including a goalie prospect. So we will head into those in a second, but first off, if you're brand new to the channel and love goaltending and just hockey in general, then please click that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. I do want to sincerely thank you guys. We recently hit 300 subscribers on the channel, and I think that's definitely helped my motivation to get back into uploading. So here we are, and hopefully we can hit 400 pretty soon. That would be pretty sweet. So to help me reach that goal, definitely subscribe to the channel down below. And also, while you're at it, follow me on Instagram. It's at goalie_hub. I've been pretty active over there in this time that I've been gone from the channel. So if you want to keep seeing content from me if I ever disappear like this again for a couple months, then go drop a follow over on Instagram. But anyways, we will get into today's video with our first trade between the San Jose Sharks and the Colorado Avalanche. So this trade involves a veteran goaltender named Dubnyk going from the San Jose Sharks to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for defenseman Pateryn and a 2021 5th round pick. So my thoughts on the trade. First of all, I do think this was a pretty smart move by Joe Sakic and the Colorado Avalanche. They've been missing a backup goaltender for the entire season so far since Francouz has been injured the entire year. Of course, Grubauer has been carrying his weight as a starter, but they still need that insurance, as shown as last year's playoffs. They had Michael Hutchinson starting in net for them. That's how many injuries they had. So this move definitely helps them out in terms of goaltending depth. One thing I do want to mention though is that, really, Dubnyk? There were some other guys available. Jonathan Bernier, James Reimer, a couple former Leafs goalies there. Even Linus Ullmark probably was available from the Buffalo Sabres. And they decided to go after Dubnyk. An interesting choice. But, he has a lot of experience. He was a Vezina finalist at one point with the Minnesota Wild. He's a veteran guy who can maybe help just in the locker room with the Avalanche. So it's not a bad pickup. I do think they could have gone after a better guy like Bernier or something like that. But also, to be fair, I think those guys would have cost a little bit more than what they gave up for Dubnyk. And maybe the Avalanche only see Dubnyk as a 1-year rental, which is probably what's going to happen, so they didn't want to give up too much. As for the San Jose Sharks side, I honestly do like this return. Pateryn, he's a decent bottom pairing defenseman. I'm pretty sure his defensive analytics are really solid, so maybe he can help out the Sharks bottom pair. And as for that 5th round pick, they might as well recoup a pick for a guy that might not even be around next year if he were to stay on the Sharks. You never know what could happen with a 5th round pick. Maybe if the Sharks draft well, it could turn into a very solid NHL player in the future. So overall, I don't really see a clear winner in this trade. I think it's pretty even, and I think it's a good move for both sides in the deal. Moving on to our second trade of the video. It is between 2 Canadian teams. It is the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs. In this deal, the Maple Leafs acquired David Rittich. That is right, Big Save Dave is a Leaf for a 2022 3rd round pick, and I must say that Calgary did retain half of David Rittich's salary as he is a UFA at the end of the season. So my thoughts on this deal. First off, from the Maple Leafs perspective, I love this trade by Kyle Dubas. I think it is a great move. One thing is that maybe he could have gone out and gotten a guy like Bernier or Reimer or Ullmark that are maybe a bit better goalies. But the thing is, too, you don't have to wait for a quarantine period with Rittich because he was also on another Canadian team. Whereas the other guys, you'd have to wait 7 to 14 days. I don't really know what it is right now. Maybe even 10 days. I forget what it is. But you'd have to wait for a certain period of time for them to be available to the Leafs. So getting David Rittich, I think, was the easiest option for Kyle Dubas, and this definitely helps out the goaltending depth, as the Leafs recently put Frederik Andersen on LTIR, which likely means that his groin injury, at least I believe it was a groin injury, is actually a bit worse than we thought. Hopefully he can return soon, but I mean, Jack Campbell's been absolutely lights out this year. 11 straight wins, that's an NHL record. Props to Jack Campbell. I love seeing him play in the net, and he could honestly be the Leafs playoff starter ahead of Frederik Andersen. But even getting David Rittich, he'll be a good backup goalie behind Jack Campbell until Andersen returns. And even though Hutchinson was playing well, it is good to have good goalie depth, as shown by the Avalanche in last year's playoffs, using Hutchinson as their starter. But yeah, I do like the move by Dubas, and I think he achieved his goal of getting more goaltending depth. As for the Calgary Flames side, I also actually don't mind the deal for them. I know they only got a third-round pick, where maybe they could have gotten like a second or something, but you also have to take into account that David Rittich is a UFA at the end of the year, and I don't think he would have re-signed in Calgary at all, considering they have Jacob Markstrom, and he would not want to stay if he was just slated to be like a backup to Markstrom. He would want to go and play somewhere else where he would get more ice time, and I think even in Toronto he would get more ice time if they don't re-sign Frederik Andersen, which honestly I think this is the writing on the wall, that Freddie is going to the free agent market this summer, which is definitely going to be interesting for the Leafs. Maybe next year they go with a tandem of Campbell and Rittich, but who knows, we'll see. Overall, not a bad haul for Calgary, getting a third-round pick for a guy that would not even re-sign with you, basically. And for the Leafs, they get extra goaltending depth that they kind of needed with Frederik Andersen being injured for so much, and even Jack Campbell was injured for a bit, so just in case there's more injuries, you have a guy that can play. Now moving on to the final trade in this video that I will cover, and it is more of a minor one. So this is another trade involving San Jose. This time they trade defenseman Fredrik Claesson to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for goalie prospect Magnus Chrona. Now Magnus Chrona, or Chrona, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, I'm just going to say Chrona. He is an interesting return for the San Jose Sharks. Obviously they traded Dubnyk before. Obviously this guy's not going to come in and play in the NHL right away, as he was a 2018 5th rounder by the Lightning, and he's only 20 years old. But he has been playing in the NCAA over the past couple of years. He had a .907 save percentage in 18 games this year. Last year he did have a .920 save percentage in 27 games, so maybe there's a little bit of potential there. And going the other way to the Lightning, Fredrik Claesson helps give them more defensive depth, and maybe we'll play a few games for the Lightning, probably more of like a taxi squad / healthy scratch guy, but overall it's more of a minor move, and you never know what could happen with Magnus Chrona. Goalie prospects can always develop very randomly, and it's always usually the team that controls how a goalie can develop, but you never know, maybe we'll see him in the NHL in like 5 years. So that just about does it for all the trades I'm going to cover in this video. I know there's some other goalies traded a bit before the deadline, like Jonas Johansson, but I just didn't really want to include them in this video because, one, it would be a little bit too long, and two, it happened like a couple weeks or a few weeks before the deadline, so does it really count as a deadline day trade? That's up for debate. But anyways, I hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, then be sure to leave a like and comment down below, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you again for 300 subscribers. Follow me on Instagram at goalie_hub. There will be a link down below in the description. But anyways, that is all for now from me, and I will see you guys in the next video.